Hey, if you're just starting out or even advanced in your workouts and wanted to try something new, an isometric routine is always a great choice. Isometric exercises involve no movement. They're stationary poses and holds, like abdominal planks, for instance. I've put together a whole body workout, and I'll demonstrate each exercise in this video. I apologize in advance for my lack of professional camera equipment, but hopefully you find this helpful anyways. For each exercise, I'll also tell you what muscle groups it targets and some form pointers. The benefits to an isometric routine are mostly endurance, with minor strength and mass gains as well. This routine consists of 8 exercises. For beginners, you want to start off with 3 sets of each, and as you progress, or if you're more advanced, you can add sets as you see fit. If you last longer than a minute on any given exercise, add on weight until you can only last 30 to 45 seconds. Rinse and repeat. The exercises we will be covering are edge hold, handstand, wall sit, push and pull, abdominal plank, side plank, Superman, and tiptoe hold. Here we go. With the first exercise, edge hold, you start off like you would with a pull-up, except you don't lower yourself back down and instead hold that position for as long as you can. I know it doesn't look like it in the video, but my feet aren't touching the ground. For the second exercise, it's exactly what it sounds like, a handstand. You hold it for as long as you can. Now, if you're like me, you need a wall behind you for support, but if you're more advanced, you don't need one. Just make sure that your arms aren't locked straight, but instead are slightly bent. And also, be careful of blood rushing to your head. You can faint. The third exercise is everybody's favorite from gym class, the wall sit. Exactly like you remember it, you sit against the wall with your knees bent at a 90-degree angle. Make sure your knees are not forward past your toes, otherwise you put your knees in jeopardy. And make sure that you're not pressing up into the wall, but instead are just leaning against it, and that your quads are doing most of the work. The fourth exercise, not a lot of people know about. I call it the push and pull. It actually consists of 2 separate exercises. For the first part, put your hands together near your chest at about nipple line, and press your hands into each other as hard as you can, for about as long as you can. Once you're done, relax for a second, and then put your hands back together. Except this time, instead of pressing, you're going to pull your hands apart as hard as you possibly can. You're going to have to lock your fingers together so that you have some resistance against your hands separating. The fifth exercise is probably the most widely known isometric exercise, the abdominal plank. Start out like you would doing a push-up. In my case, I rest on my elbows instead of my fists. And keeping your back absolutely straight, hold that position for as long as you can. If you start trembling, it's a good sign, because this targets a lot of smaller muscles that might not otherwise get exercised. That'll fade with time. Just make sure you keep your back straight. The sixth exercise, the side plank, is similar to the abdominal plank, except this time you're targeting your side muscles, called the obliques. It also hits your hip muscles as well. I use my elbows to rest on, and you want to keep your body straight. The only point of contact should be your feet and your elbow or hand, depending on what you're using. And you'll feel a lot of stress around your hip area and your side of your stomach. That's where you want to hit. Do it once for each side. The seventh exercise, the Superman, targets your lower back muscles. Start out lying on the floor with your hands extended forward and your feet going back. And then raise your fists and your upper arms as well as your legs so that you look like Superman when he's flying. The only thing that should be touching the floor at this point is your stomach. And you hold that for as long as you can. Now, lower back muscles might not last as long, so don't feel bad if you can't hold this exercise for as long as you can hold the others. The eighth and final exercise I call the tiptoe hold. You stand on one leg and then lift your heel off the floor, almost like you're doing a calf extension, like you're standing on your tippy toes to look over a high ledge or something. Now, I have horrible balance, so don't swivel all over the place like I am, but use a wall or a desk or something for support if you need it, but try not to hold on to it, otherwise it takes the stress off the muscle you want to target, which is your calves. And you do this once for each leg. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them below. And I apologize for the crappy quality of the video, but my laptop's webcam is the only camera I have available to me. Thanks.